Hi there. I said to John the other day, I keep coming across the term gaslighting. It seems to
Yeah.
be a really common term that people are using all the time.
Mm.
So I thought it would be really good if we looked it up, saw what they say. This is a quote from Relate, which is the major relationship counselling organisation in the UK. And obviously there is a certain amount of gaslighting definitely goes on if you live with a drinker. So we're going to kind of extrapolate out what that might look like in your drinking situation. But this is what Relate says about gaslighting. Gaslighting is a term that refers to trying to convince someone they're wrong about something, even when they aren't. Most commonly, it takes the form of frequently disagreeing with someone or refusing to listen to their point of view. Many of us might be guilty of some sort of mild gaslighting from time to time, refusing to hear what our partner has to say, even if they're in the right, or persistently disagreeing over some minor quibble, even when they aren't sure of their position. It's mostly harmless, a kind of a form of pettiness, of being unwilling to be proven wrong. We get little shades of this sometimes, don't we, when we get a bit heated, you and I. But in more extreme cases, it can be a real form of abuse. When it's done repeatedly over a long period of time, it can have the effect of making someone doubt their own ideas about things or even question their sanity. It can have a highly negative effect on a person's self-esteem and confidence. In certain situations, someone might deliberately gaslight their partner as a way of controlling them, a serious form of emotional abuse that is never acceptable. So,
Yes,
now you as a psychologist, I know,
I'm mixed with
yes,
this.
feel
Yes.
that it's kind of taken on a life of its own, this word.
I feel like many terms that it's taken on connotations that it was never really meant in the first place, and it's too pervasive. Gaslighting in its original form was very toxic.
Yeah.
It was very toxic, it was very deliberate, it was an intentional a desire to mislead. Just disagreeing with somebody, then the term can actually be used abusively itself. You're gaslighting me.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm just disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
I just don't agree with what you say, you know.
But and it's one of the reasons why we're doing it, really, just to say. But the thing is, I think people have found a term,
Yeah.
and it's a light bulb moment because they know that something happens, and it sometimes can happen very pervasively.
Yeah.
That they keep being told things that don't actually, they're not real, they're not what they feel. Now this goes on a bit in arguments, doesn't it? I mean, when you're heated,
Absolutely, it goes on in arguments.
yeah,
You know, as I say, the original form of gaslighting, I mean, as we know, it came from the play, and and it was about somebody trying to drive their wife mad, to make them feel that things, because that's what it was. It was the gaslight we've been turned up and down and saying that no, it's not happening,
Yeah.
and so it was slowly but surely driving her crazy, and it was very toxic.
Okay, I'm going to enter. I think the drinker's partner has just entered the room. At this
Quite
point.
possibly, But it was a very deliberate, very intentional, with an end in sight. And yes, you could, to some extent, say that's what drinkers do. But I think it's slightly different. It's more kind of gaslighting light, if you know what I mean. It doesn't have that same. The effect is quite toxic. I'll grant you that.
It absolutely is.
Intentional is not.
I think what you're saying is that bad gaslighting is an intentional desire on the behalf of the abuser to inflict emotional, psychological pain on someone. I don't think the drinker's doing that. The drinker is just trying to protect his drink.
No.
That's basically what's going on. But like you say,
please, I'm not trying to condone or and excuse the drinker in any way. I mean, I was very, very guilty of this.
Yes, yeah.
Drinking, me? No. Fumes,
Yes, yeah.
Couldn't stand up. No, I was never drinking at all. I don't know why you think that,
Yes, but I think the point you're making, and it is an important point, is in terms of motivation.
Yes.
At that point, it's not about getting at you, it's about stopping you from getting at them.
It's the motivation behind it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, but it can feel like gaslighting, and it's very, very powerful.
Yeah. But that's why I kind of I worry about terms, but then maybe that's more about my age, Maybe I'm becoming an old curmudgeon, and think what should we use?
I think we should do a whole session on that one. Right?
My curmudgeon, my yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I have to say, I was thinking about this when we were just about to do this. Because I kept being told by my drinker, no, I'm not drinking. We'll just talk about the different ways in which I did it. For a while, when you and I argued, I would fight for you to see my reality. And it left a real wound. I should just drive you nuts, didn't I?
Yeah.
Because I couldn't bear any thought, that you might be saying, no, it's not, when I felt it was. And so that left a real kind of wound on me. Mm-hmm. Not so much now. I think we found our way through that, and I've realised it was happening. But it was very, very strong.
Yeah, I remember one of the things you used to say is that, I am listening to what you're saying.
Yeah.
I am hearing what you're saying. Mm-hmm. I just don't agree with it.
Yes.
And we got into this. It was a very, very difficult
time. Yeah, it was really difficult.
But yes, we were both dragging old wounds into, and saying, yes, I might be fighting with you at the moment, but I'm actually fighting because of all of these people in the past.
Yeah.
You used to say your mother has just entered the room.
Yes, absolutely. So recovery will involve all of these things. Exactly. If your drinker has become sober and you're kind of doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what I've highlighted, if we use the word gaslighting for your drinker passing off something that isn't going on, the major gaslighting really is I'm not drinking. Mm-hmm. That's the worst thing, particularly if you've got a binge drinker.
Yeah.
Basically, for the first bit of the binge drinking, they deny.
Yeah.
So you're beginning to sense something is going on, and you're saying, "Are you drinking?" They're saying no. Mm-hmm. Are you drinking? They're saying no. So they're questioning your grasp on reality.
Yeah, for that particular. I mean, we've done a whole. I'm sure we've done at least one video on lying in the past. Because I don't think they're gaslighting. I think they're just lying. But you're talking about you. I'm talking about how it feels. Yes.
To be the other end, and you feel gaslit. Yeah. We've established that that's not your intention. No. But if somebody's telling you, they're not drinking where they are, then they're actually wanting you to believe something that's not true and to doubt your own perceptions.
Fair enough. I mean, most people, when they talk to me, they don't talk about gaslighting, they talk about the person lying.
Yeah.
And I tend to agree with them. Mm-hmm. That's what's actually happening there. Yeah. There are lies. And those lies are it's not malicious in that respect that you're trying to drive you mad, but what they are trying to do is get you to back off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Back off. I'm defending my alcohol.
Yeah.
I'm defending my drink.
So for me, coming out of that particular situation used to drive me in this frenzy of trying to find the drink, because if I could try and find the drink, then I could actually put the evidence. I'm not going mad, you're drinking. That was the battle between me feeling I'm going crazy and you drinking. Yeah. But that used to spend hours. I mean, I'd literally be outside the door waiting to hear the chink of him opening his bottle so that I could come in. It was madness, really.
Yeah.
But it was the pursuit of trying to find out that I'm not the crazy one. What I did in the end, I decided, because my husband was a binge drinker, that if he looked like he was drinking, and he sounded like he was drinking,
smelled like he was drinking.
But he was fairly good at trying to stop that. That actually I would just say you're drinking, and I just said, if occasionally I get it wrong, I'm sorry, you've got nobody but you have to blame. So I claimed my reality, and I stood my ground there. But it took a long time.
I had a friend who, he was a denier in chief. Mm-hmm. I mean, he could stand there, straight to your face saying, no, I'm not drinking.
Yeah.
And he hated mints.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But when he was drinking,
All right.
He always ate mince,
So
and
for the mince with a clue.
haven't you noticed that there's a clue here, You don't eat mince except for one time,
Yeah.
But he couldn't understand this.
No.
And he expected me to. In fact, one day I actually went to his jacket and I tapped on the top pocket, and because there was a bottle actually inside his jacket, and I said, "What about that?" Because he said, "I'm not drinking." And it was almost like one of those cartoons. Oh, who put that there? He didn't quite do that, but it was almost like that.
I know. So we're talking about it as we're laughing about it. When it's actually happening, it doesn't feel laughable.
It's not at all.
It's
I mean, I denied it many, many times, and and my wife could smell half pint, sort of at the other side of the road, and she could tell a mile away because my eyes tended to change, and
Try not to get into the dance. Yes, you are. No, oh no, you're not. Oh, yes, you are. Because you won't win that. Like John has just explained, you can be there with the bottle and absolutely swaying around, and still the drinker denied completely. That they won't do anything.
This is when you've got alcohol, you actually think that you're invisible. You think that people can't see it. You think that you're pulling the wool over their eyes when you're standing there swaying, breathing out alcohol.
That's because you're too drunk to know you're drunk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, for goodness sake, behave. So.
That was the computer speaking to us. You
yes,
be quiet.
The computers decided to chime in.
Okay, second, and I think one of our biggest hits, I think, is My Partner an Alcoholic, is the I don't have a problem with drink. Now, that's another kind of denial that begins to build up at the very beginning. They will be comparing themselves to the alcoholic in the gutter. You will be comparing your partner with how they were before they started doing a lot of drinking.
But denial isn't reserved just for drinking.
No.
I mean, denial's reserved for all of us.
Yeah.
we all have a bit of that, and you stand in front of the mirror and say, I'm not fat at all, haven't put on any weight over the Christmas period, And we all have denial of some, to some extent. Drinker, I mean, it's all part of lying to themselves. But to some extent, sometimes they genuinely are unaware. It's not just I'm not, and sort of lying about it. They can often be unaware of it because they're unaware because they won't let that part of their brain, recognize the problem.
So at that point, they're gaslighting themselves, then, really, if you're going to.
Yeah, very often that could be the gaslighting themselves.
Yeah. So it can feel really uncomfortable, and if you're here because you're wondering if your partner has a problem with drink, that there's a lot of stuff on our website you can read, but basically, if they're drinking and it's a problem to you, the chances are you live with a problem drinker. It's not rocket science. You do know if your partner's being changed by taking drink or drugs, because you know what your partner is like. You probably didn't marry someone going down the aisle with them swaying around or high.
Yeah.
So you know the difference, and so again, believe yourself. If there's alarm bells going off in your head, and you're finding that drink is changing the way that your partner's behaving, he's got or she's got a problem with substance abuse. So believe in yourself, because I suppose the point we're making through all of this is when someone's drinking, you can try to push off the unreality and denial that they're in their world and try and push it onto your world. Chances are it's already happening to you. Be absolutely firm, push it back into their world. It's their problem with their denial and unreality. It's not yours.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
and I think, you said they're not swaying going down the aisle. I think a couple of people have come to me recently who are sort of pre-marital, and one of the things I say to them is, if you really, really have doubts at this point, this is the time to do something about it.
We have some good videos about that, and if you're listening to this and you've got alarm bells going off, listen to those alarm bells. Just listen to our two videos. I think there were two, wasn't there? The one in particular about what to do before you marry or before you move in together, which is often really the equivalent of marriage nowadays, isn't it? What starts kind of you know, when you begin to share your lives.
Yeah.
You know, if they're already drinking, please be really careful. You can hope they get better, but often, you know, once the flood of, you know, the first flush of love is over, they can get worse.
Absolutely.
So, okay then. So 2 more things about your emotional reactions, which you can feel very gaslit. Kind of the first one is you're overreacting. That you know, you're oversensitive. So that's a kind of a minimization of the depth of the problem.
Yep.
And again, you can feel, to just use this useful little term, gaslit, about that, because you know, you're being told the one that's the problem, you know, because you're oversensitive and you're overreactive and you're probably angry by then, so you're too emotional. Did you use that with your first wife?
Yeah, of course. You know, I mean, it's sort of page 1 of the Alcoholics Playbook. You know, you're overreacting. You know, you're making a fuss. You know, and in fact, when we did the series on my 1-to-1 counselling, that was the first one I did. They said, you know, are you making a fuss? And that's because that's one of the phrases is, you know, stop making a fuss. Cheer up.
No, that's the other one. Yeah, that's the next one. Lighten up. What's that one? You're being a killjoy. That's quite a common one, isn't it?
They all come in the first lesson of alcoholism, to be honest. You know, they're all in there. And, you know, these are the phrases that you trot out. Yeah,
so the implication of the first one is that you're the one that's really got the problem because you're just over-emotional, oversensitive, and everything is fine. And, you know, the second one is, oh, you're just a party pooper, you know, I'm just having fun with my mates, and, you know, you just spoil everything. And again, I'm fine, you're not. That's the essence of it, the bottom line of it. The drinker says, I'm fine, you're not.
Yeah.
Okay. So these are really common things. And a video like this can just help you understand this feeling of gaslighting. And I'm using it colloquially, all right, because that's the reason I picked up. It's become a colloquial kind of term for somebody passing something off on you that isn't really yours. And I think that happens a lot when you live with a drinker. So be really clear where it might be happening. Stand your ground. If you need to, listen to a video like this over and over again because you're absolutely sure that in no way are you being, quote, gaslit, so that it can really help you to be who you are, not be manipulated into something or taking up something that you're really not.
Yeah. Believe your senses.
Yeah. Believe your senses. Believe in yourself.
Yeah.
But can I say, don't over vilify your drinker if they don't do it when they're not drunk. It's the drink that causes this very strong desire to shut you down on what you're thinking and feeling and seeing. I don't think with my drinker, he wasn't, you know, when he was sober, he was a very kind of horrible. He was very kind and very nice.
Well, as we've said before, drinkers normally are, you know, and it's about the drink, it's about defending the drink, it's about defending the right to drink, it's about defending the amount that they drink, it's about defending the medication in some respects. So that's what it's about.
So do talk to us. Now, we openly say in this video that gaslighting is making a transition as a term and as a description from something that it was, and it's now becoming a broader term. You may feel it in a different, you know, kind of perceive it in a different way. If it's a light bulb moment for you, the last thing we want to do is snatch that away in any way whatsoever. The reason we've done this video is we're kind of exploring what it was, what it might be meaning in this culture. Either way, we hope you found this really helpful.
Okay.
Bye now.
Bye.